Hey guys, just want to do, I'm going to start doing some very quick and short video lessons, recaps, etc. on things that happened throughout the trading day. I think I'll probably be just make a note of stuff, and then next day I'll do a couple of quick recaps and reminders on things that I think we need to pay some attention to. In this case, we said on Friday I was going to look at Amat because it hit the reversal scan, and I know some of us took it. I took the trade, and a few of you guys took the trade, and I was a little bit surprised to find that you didn't hold. I know, I'm not mentioning names, but I know we did talk about this in chat, and I think one or two of you were probably a bit disappointed in yourselves that you kind of didn't stand your ground on it. And obviously, once the trade worked, as it was always going to work, some of you weren't in the trade to capitalize on the move. So yeah, that's what I want to have a quick look at. Really, is AMAT. So it hit the ATM scan 1252 at 35.71. When you're looking at this scan, there's certain things we're looking for and certain things you need to bear in mind that provide a good trade. To start with, it had a reasonably high RSI of 75 and increasing. It was probably closer to 80, 85 by the time it topped out there, the 5-minute RSI. Okay, we had 5 consecutive 5-minute candles. So that's good. For me though, what makes it even better is this run up really from here. It holds the moving average 50. You look at the chart and it runs up, but we get these nice pullbacks, and this is what I like. I don't always like straight up action. I like it to pull back, push, pull back, push. So we're getting in here on essentially the third wave. Getting in on a third wave for a pullback can be really good. Other thing we need to look at is we need to look at the daily. When you're looking at this, I know you don't have a long time, but you have a minute or two normally, a good couple of minutes, and a quick glance at the daily. Once your eyes reasonably trained, you should automatically see this trend line here. Okay, without plotting it, you should be able to see it. Your eye will soon come to the point where you'll automatically see it. So you can see it's got this trend line, and if you look at one quick glance, you'll see it also holds a trend line here. Okay, so tells us that AMAT likes trend lines. It respects some trend lines. So all you need to do is quickly draw your trend line. Come back to your intraday, and you've got your trend line here. Look at the pieces of the puzzle that we've got. Now the reason I'm saying this is because I know somebody, maybe one or two of you actually took the trade here, and then you weren't in the trade here, and I sort of said, well, why are you not in the trade? And I know somebody said they've been spooked out by the candles. I don't get that. I mean, the candles, the biggest candle here is 11-12 cents. This candle here is about 18 cents. So they're not big candles. They're not wild candles. I mean, to me, it represents just something that's pushing. But if you look at the pieces of the puzzle, folks, you've got R2 pivot point resistance here, 35.80, where it crashes into and fails. Okay, now you don't have to take the front side. This is an ideal place to take it. Let it fail, let it show you it's failed. And look at these candles, lower, 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 lower. So take it round here, let it fail first. What you did, you took it on the front side and you didn't allow it to. You probably took it on the front and you didn't really allow it to prove itself. Okay, if you did take it here and you thought it was dropping, that's absolutely fine, but you need to look at your risk off areas. Okay, you need to look at your risk off areas. But I know this candle was where it hit, so we hadn't seen this at this point. So this candle's where it hit, so I'm assuming from there it only pushed up. We've got the $36 whole number hanging just above it, plus R3 resistance, 36.11. Plenty of resistance overhead. Okay, we've got the trend line that it poked its head through and kind of failed on as well. So when you take a trade, if you've taken it slightly on the front side, you still need to stand your ground. You need to let it prove to you that it's going to break these levels, because look how extended it is. Okay, remember what my criteria are for a good quality reversal. Around 2% in 30 to 45 minutes. at this point, we've got in 30 minutes we've got 3%. Okay, just from here, that's a 3% push up in 30 minutes. Okay, I like it to be 1.5 to 2% above the VWAP. The VWAP's all the way down here. We're 5% extended from the VWAP. Okay, you need to look at these things, and you need to trust me when I say that these ingredients make up a good quality, high probability chance of a reversal. I know this because I've tested it and I've done my homework. Okay, this is why I trade these setups, because they're high probability. Now, the ones where they meander along and put in a very lame double top, they're much lower odds of success. Okay, they're not as strong. But these push-ups, these almost parabolic push-ups into resistance, you're always, whether you get a pullback and a push or whether you get a complete fail down to the VWAP, we don't know, because then we're finding support. We're coming into support areas. However, you're nearly always going to get a pullback, okay, a nice pullback, and you can make some money on this pullback. But the point of this is I need you to stand your ground on these trades, guys. You need to look at how many pieces of the puzzle we've got there. We've got the whole number, we've got the pivot point, we've got the trend line, we've got the overextension. Okay, we've got the pullbacks to show that it does pull back. Why wouldn't it pull back from here? It pulled back from that pivot point. It pulled back from that pivot point. Why isn't it going to pull back from this pivot point? It's extended. It's hit the scan. The fact it's hit the scan tells us that there's a good chance that it might reverse. Okay, I mean, we didn't get that many results on the scan. I mean, look how many green results there were. There's only about four different tickers there. 5 to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 different tickers. So it's not like it was overpopulating. It's not like it was showing us, you know, given the market conditions on the day, the market wasn't tearing or anything, so we weren't getting loads and loads of stocks that were producing these 5-minute candles, etc. So it was a good day for taking trades off the scan. I need you to just trust me when I say that this setup is more likely to produce a green trade than it is a red trade, far more likely. Now, I took it here. I was a bit late. I was actually responding to somebody in DM when it failed here. I took the trade here when it broke through 35.50. I knew it was going to give me something, and I did say at the time I wasn't going to risk off the high of day at this point. It was a down or out. I would have probably given it to 35.55 and then taken it off. But look, you know, the moving averages are crossed over, the 9's crossed over the 20. It's back into bearish territory. I took it there, took some off here. If you remember, we put the fib on here and it rejected the 50% fib line here. Took some more off here, exited position here. This is what you're missing out on if you're not going to hold your ground on these. You know, you really need to look at, like I said, the pieces of the puzzle. If you take a trade, you need to take it with some conviction, because if you jump in and get frightened out by a 15-20 cent candle before you've given the trade chance to show you what it's going to do, then you're either jumping in because of FOMO, because you didn't want to miss out, but actually you've got no conviction in the trade, so, oh, I think I'll take it off. You really can't be doing that. You need to have some conviction in what you're going to do, because without conviction in the trade you're going to make, you're going to be taking stuff off all the time without allowing it to really show you its next move. There's nothing wrong with taking it here, because if you believe in the resistance that's coming up. If these resistance areas weren't there, then maybe I would say, yeah, you shorted the front side. But you do have these areas, and you have to believe how strong they are. These pivot points are very, very strong. These intraday pivot points, they're very good. You know, hopefully you've watched the video lessons from Eric on Fibonacci and on pivot points, and you know, we've been talking about them pretty well all this week, probably a lot of last week. I've been raving about them in the afternoons. I'm now using them as part of my strategy to reinforce what I already had. The fact that if that pivot point wasn't there, I would have still taken the trade, because it's still coming up into the 36. I would have just been a little less understanding as to why it's failed here without that line on. You think, well, why has it failed at 35.82, 35.83? But then you do have this trend line, so that might have helped. But the fact that you've got this pivot point here too, R2 pivot point, just, it's like the cherry on the cake. So it's another piece of a jigsaw puzzle that was already considered to be a complete, you know, picture. So that's fantastic. Given all these things, you needed to have let this work out, guys, given it a fair opportunity. It wasn't scary, it wasn't ripping faces off, it was just pushing up into resistance where it failed and pulled back. So that's it really. Quick recap of what went wrong with Amat for a few of you. So yeah, please just have conviction in what you do, especially when I'm saying this looks good. I wouldn't say something looks really good for a reversal if it didn't look really good for a reversal. Like I say, I got hit up on by somebody in a DM, somebody that I knew needed to speak to me pretty quickly, and that's why I was kind of tied up doing that, and I missed this. But nevertheless, I still had conviction in it, which is why I obviously shorted it here. I still felt that it would pull back to at least this pivot point here. I was hoping for a pullback maybe down to the EMA 200 or support pivot point number 1, but didn't quite get that on this move. But hopefully you learned something from this. Hopefully you learned something from the fact that you didn't kind of trade it the way it should have been traded. But yeah, going forward, maybe use some smaller size if you feel you were oversized and you didn't want to give it to 36 or 36.11. That's fine. That's giving it 32 cents, which was, you know, you probably don't want to give that on 200 or 300 shares maybe. But if you're only taking 100 shares, then there's, you know, really your risk was so small on it. And bear in mind our target was the VWAP. So if you took it here and you were going to risk off there, you were risking 40 cents. Essentially, the target was $1.50 away. So it's still a solid 4-to-1 risk reward, even if you'd risked off this pivot point here, with the goal being here. Now obviously they don't always work out. This didn't achieve our target, but you will notice that how many of these trades that we take where they do actually hit the VWAP, I would say probably 7 out of 10 of the trades that we take that are green trades that work out, which is about 83% anyway. Of those that work out, I would say 7 out of 10 actually do achieve their target of pulling back to this area of the VWAP, because that's what these stocks tend to do. They tend to fail and then retrace to their natural support area of the VWAP. So bear that in mind when you're working out your odds and you're working out your risk to reward. I know you've got all these pivot points here, but I always use the VWAP. Okay, it's how I work out my risk reward before I'm taking the trade. Okay, that's all I wanted to say on AMAT really. So yeah, let's move forward. Let's have some conviction in our trades. Let's not get scared out by a candle here and a candle there. Let's get in these trades and then let them work for us. Let them show us what their hand, you know, what their hand is, and we can be reactive to them. Okay, all right, guys. I'll catch you later.